to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Guess we can call the Marion County Landbank Special Board meeting to order. I guess, Lyle, if you've got what you need to present us, we're ready for you.
Want me to sit up here? I don't know if I was gonna present, I was gonna listen.
I can start if that's helpful.
Well, that's all right, no, or if you want to, it's okay.
So basically, you're aware of the property that it's over, it's the area that we own by the Poor Farm Cemetery.
I've known that place a long time.
It's just that one little notch of which is the Poor Farm Cemetery that the county is retaining.
Yep.
And so it's about 8.8 acres.
Yeah, I saw 8.33.
Yep, 8.33 with the, after, yes, that's right. And then because it's with the land bank, we have some specific kind of things that we have to do in the form of an application. So interested buyers would have to complete an application because the land bank board can take into consideration things besides just price as far as.
Are there some specific use restrictions or anything for that? Or I'm assuming, I didn't even look to see what the current zoning of that property is. Is there a current zoning for that?
I haven't looked at it, but I would say it's probably agricultural. But we'll find out for sure.
I'd be, or I can go over and talk over there too, and which if it's agriculture at this point, that's fine.
But yeah, I'd have to verify.
Yeah.
So basically, we also have to notify the adjoining landowners and publish notice in the paper that we're gonna sell it, and we have to do that 30 days prior to the actual sale.
Okay, do you have to do that before listing it or before the sale of it?
Before it's sold. So we can do it in conjunction with the listing.
Okay. Well, my hope is that most adjoining landowners know it's for sale as soon as it's for sale.
Right.
I've actually done some investigation of that already in the last days. I don't know how, yeah. Right now, the neighbor that owns right adjoining to it, I don't know them. They live in Colorado. A name I'm not familiar with. I used to think Ed Hine owned that property, so I don't know if Ed ever had a daughter. But I know his son Dean Hine, so I'll make contact with that and find out. But
Dean's sister owns next.
with that,
Dean's sister owns the border, its own.
If I was an adjoining landowner, you'd have particular interest just to kind of control what's happening around it. But if you're an absentee landowner that inherited a piece of land, you don't have near as much incentive as somebody that is farming around it and wanting to keep a horse or dog or something off your place. So,
I think the board was looking maybe for some guidance on, or some direction from you on setting up a listing price. And so.
well, we all want, maybe we don't, but we all have seen what the land market's doing. It goes anywhere from 4,000 to 12,000 anymore, as far as land goes. I've never seen anything like this in my life, and just as we think we have, it can get crazier yet. So the land market's everywhere. The trouble, we're fighting a whole different land market. I shouldn't say fighting, we're looking at a whole different land market here, because if it's adjoining landowner that wants to buy farmland, yeah. But there's also then the issue of converting that to farmland, because I just went by again, we got 10 and 12 foot cottonwoods and elms growing out there that, are gonna take some time to, but people will invest in that and do that to farm nowadays. But that, again, that takes a farmer then that's wanting to aggressively convert it to farmland. Otherwise, you're not gonna have the guys that are paying $8,000–9,000 an acre care about it, because it's not 80 acres or a quarter or a half section. Unless they're just there. So I've looked at it several times as to what somebody else would do with it. We're on a dirt road. What's the county's policy if somebody builds a house and it's on a dirt road as far as getting gravel through the road?
What do we pay for it the first time?
What's that?
Pay for it the first time.
You pay for it the first time.
And Flint Hills will make you Run the line to it, past it.
The utility line.
I don't think it goes past the.
No, it doesn't. It goes up to the poor farm to the south. And the gravel road kind of goes up to that place
Well,
too.
did, which is pretty well depleted now.
Yeah, yeah. So, and then the nice.
It's not a real desirable property.
No, it's not. It's pretty flat and low. It's not a great place to build a house. It's, you know, unless you do something on the north end to get up out of the water and, you know, it just, it's a place. But the thing in your favor is people want to buy land one way or another. It always seems to surprise you what somebody will pay for something or want it, but it's not, you know. If we had a nice rolling hill or something to put a house on, that'd be awesome, but we got what we got. I don't know if there's anything. There's two old buildings on it, the old concrete little sheds.
Dynamite
What were those
shacks.
for at one time?
Dynamite shacks.
Dynamite shed, is what I heard.
Do you know if there's ever been a well or any other kind of improvements on it? I mean, did it ever have electricity to it? Probably not, huh?
Doubt it.
If there's no poles there, unless, I mean, I've had where,
Well, they take them up.
well, they would take them up.
As long as that's been abandoned.
Yep, as long as it's been there, they might have taken up what's there.
It was just a stockpile.
But there's never been gravel down that road then, apparently though either, that I can see. I mean, even gravel roads that have been not gravelled anymore would have had some.
There's a full mile north of it that's not.
Yeah, the gravel shortest is coming in from the south.
To get back to the blacktop, you're what, 6 miles, time you zigzag back.
Yep.
Going south and east.
Yeah. So, well, the only things I know around is sold. I mean, let's compare. There's a place at Olney that sold. It would have been, I can't think of his first name. I actually did an auction for the family 15 years ago. It would be Roger Richmond's brother. Lived there a mile to the south of the old landfill. And there's his house. Betty initially sold that house off with about 5 acres, 4.5 to 5 acres. She sold it off for about $35,000. And then those people took the house down and covered it up with dirt, dug a hole and filled it in and relisted it. And I think it just brought last year. $55,000 in 10/29 of 25. So last, basically November, 55,000 for 4.5 acres. That's at least on a gravel road and a mile from Olney and has electricity and has a well. Probably I'm just gonna throw it out there, in my opinion, it's probably hard to find someone pay much over 45,000 for it, which would to me be a lot. Because if you get 45,000, once you get pretty soon you get utilities and gravel and stuff, you're getting 100 grand into a site that isn't really a great spot to build. So my idea would be somebody maybe, we've seen some places where people buy something to make a little motorcycle track or a little place to play and or whatever they want to do, put a horse or something. And I mean, I like to say, I don't try to outguess what people would do. I mean, people buy something they can do what they like. If it's within regulation, right? So,
have you ever done a listing or best offer?
Well, about every listing's or best offer. I mean, you list a price, and I've had listings sell above asking price. I've had them sell below asking price. So, you list it for a price, say this is what we want. If you have the right competition, you get listing price or more, and if you don't have competition, you take the offers you get, and every time you get an offer, that's the information you have to deal with as to whether that's enough or not. And it's been in this business too. Sometimes you look back and say, I should have got more, and sometimes you say, we got along good. So I know how to handle it if we have bids below it, or I know how to handle it if we have bids above. I've been through that a lot. It's just, if we set it, and I don't know what's outrageous, but if you set it clear out of line, then you're not going to hear anybody talk to you anyway. And you guys have talked about auctions. That's why auctions are, why auctions have worked for a long, long time now. It's because, auctions are a funny thing. Nobody that would consider buy something, but if they think they're gonna buy it cheap, they come to the auction, and then they end up buying into it and paying a lot more than they thought they would. We've all done it.
Just $50 more, it's just $100
We've all done
more.
it.
Just
You know,
$25
the
more.
thing, the issue you run into with an auction here, and I don't know what you've had other people tell you it would cost to do an auction, but you know, auction has a set of fixed expenses, and that's just called advertising. And you get through that because you got to advertise for that one day, and so you have those fixed expenses, and the newspaper doesn't care if it's a $10,000 property or $1 million property. So
Charge you the same.
they charge you the same. I always said when it come to advertising little sales we used to do, if it said dishes or tractor, they charged me the same, but the tractor's worth $100,000 and the dishes are worth 2.5 cents. You know, I mean, so advertising costs the same to an extent. Now the things that I do, the wonderful thing we have now is internet, and so you know the advertising I do is paid for because I subscribe to the MLS and put it on the internet, and that's people find it faster here in town. They don't, you know, nobody looks in a local paper, they look online. It's a different world with that. Yeah.
Do you have a recommendation or a preference between doing just a straight listing or an auction on?
Well, I think a
these
listing's
things?
fine to do at this point, and you know, you'll know within. I mean, I watched a meeting. You talked about length of time and stuff like that. Here's what I have. This is a public meeting, I assume? That's fine. I have you know, when I post things on the MLS, I subscribe to the Wichita MLS, and they're the ones, and I send it online, and they put it out there to all the Zillow, the Realtor.coms, all that stuff. I have no control as to when that gets out there. I've posted stuff online at 10 o'clock at night, and somebody at midnight saw it posted on, let's say, Realtor.com. And then I had another one I posted one time, let's say on an evening, and a week later it still wasn't on Zillow, and I had a gal in New Jersey that was really mad at me that she didn't see it on Zillow, and I'm going, I'm not the one that puts it there. So there is a little bit of attrition as to how that gets out there and exposed. So, you know, some things are in my control and some things are not, but you know, it takes you know, I'm gonna say a week or two for some, I mean, sometimes you put something up for sale, it can be sold right away. But you guys have talked about 60 days. I'm comfortable with that on one hand, but you know, 90 days or so would be sure a little bit better to know that what information I'm getting out there gets out there. But you do what's good for you, and you know, we've talked about auctions, and I saw you, but you know, I don't do online bidding auctions because I'm an old school guy that just didn't want to learn all that stuff. But I've done plenty of auctions to where I have a phone, and I've never had anybody say I'm not going to bid on your auction, Lyle, because it's not online. I don't want to call you. You know, so. But I think at this point, for you to be able to control the things you want to control with, even if we have a contract, I think listing it and getting an offer and getting a contract for you to reevaluate is probably a good way to pursue this without it. Yeah.
I think
And less expensive for me at this point too.
I'd say we just need to list it for 90 days, $50,000 and see where it lands.
Yep, find out what happens from there. I mean, that's your, yeah.
Well, here's what I've sold just this past summer was 9.2 acres, a house, barn, 2 sheds. And I couldn't even get anybody to give me $200 a month's rent anymore. The well had a sulfur smell to it that made it discouraging. You weren't going to drink it. And local kid looking for a place. We settled on $27.50 an acre. And that's basically about what the land was worth with
For how many acres, Mike?
9.2 or so, whatever it was.
Yeah, so
And I spent no money.
less than 25,000 basically, somewhere around there.
So, in the house, you couldn't get a loan on it without siding, roof.
Right.
Tree had fell on it, knocked a big hole in
We need
it
to
there this winter, so.
take action in regular commission.
No, this board takes action on this. So if you want to settle on a listing price and extend your listing from the 60 to 90 days and list with Lyle, authorize, probably me to sign a contract unless somebody else wants to sign it, then that needs to be done in this meeting through a motion and a vote.
We'll make a motion.
Just so you know, Mike's talking about the lower end of the scale at 3 acres is getting ready to go out for about 6,700 an acre.
What's this, he says?
3 acres about ready to transfer hands for about $6,700 an acre.
Okay.
It's over that way. Mike's talking about that way, so.
Right.
You gotta think about area.
Oh, yeah.
We can set the listing a little higher on, but
I mean,
don't set it so high that you
It
don't
scares people off, but that $50,000 mark is basically $6,000 an acre.
Yeah.
And
and it's like we said, no electricity, no gravel road, probably no well. So, we're probably bumping the high end anyway.
yeah,
Who knows?
If you wouldn't have said a word, I'd have said 40 to 45 is kind of what I would have said, so,
well, I mean, we listed at that, and we always have the option, if we don't get anything, we always have the option to reduce the price.
Or somebody might offer more, who knows?
yeah, you just,
Like I said, they're selling on both sides of it. Sometimes a lot of them are selling higher than listing.
yeah, you don't wanna, yeah. There's not been too many times in the last 10 years you'd say I've sold something for less than I thought I would, but, I know it's not it's not something I drove by and got real excited about. I was saying
Like I said, it's gonna cost some money to make it farmable.
I didn't look at that and say, oh gosh, I got 10 people for that. I'm going, oh my, who's gonna buy that one? So.
Well, I've sold a few calves fairly high, but I've never sold one too high.
Yeah, right. Yep. Who actually signs the listing when that time comes?
Whoever the board authorizes.
Authorize the administrator.
Ready to make a motion then? I'll make a motion that we, list the county property at whatever that is, 8.3
3.
acres with Lyle Lepke Real Estate, on a 90-day listing for $50,000 and authorize our administrator to sign the listing.
Second.
All in favor, aye.
I second.
Aye.
Further discussion?
Mike's gotta ask for the vote.
So he asked if there were any further discussion. And then vote.
Aye.
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 One vote.
Okay.
I forgot.
Any further business?
So the only other business would be those documents that I sent you, the application and the notice of sale. Are there any issues with utilizing those? I would put on the notice of sale, my intention would be to put the contact information for Lyle. And then that application would go to our office, to my office.
Didn't have any issue.
Any consensus or?
And you haven't seen it, but it's just the notice that I have to put in the paper anyway. So, just basically saying we're offering it for sale, we're gonna list it with a listing agent, and here's how to apply to.
And I can put the listing together and just email it to you, is
Sure.
that fair enough then? Or, okay,
Yep.
so I'll just, I have it, but there's some things I didn't fill out obviously, cause I didn't know, so if that's handier for you, I'll just fill it out, email it to you, you can get it signed
That
and
works great.
send it back or something, or, okay.
That done, is there any other new business?
Do we need to approve the minutes from last month?
Since this is a special meeting, just to talk about this sale of this property, I was gonna hold off and have the minutes at our next regular meeting, along with the minutes from this meeting.
They were in this packet, so I did.
Yeah, I think I may have said something on the email about just waiting for the regular meeting to do that, and if I didn't, I apologize.
That says motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, aye? Aye. 5-0.